if you look at the guidelines from the platforms, that age 13 is when kids are technically allowed to use social media. But there are two concerns I have about that. One is, I personally, based on the data I've seen, believe that 13 is too early. And I think that it's a time, early adolescence, where kids are developing their identity, their sense of self. It's a time where it's really important for us to be thoughtful about what's going into how they think about their own self-worth and their relationships. And the skewed and often distorted environment of social media often does a disservice to many of those children.
Well, that was U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy saying he believes the 13-year-old is simply too young for kids to be on social media. Joining us now to discuss, child and adolescent family therapist Darby Fox. Darby, great to have you with us. Your reaction to the Surgeon General's belief?
I think he's right. I love that he came out with that kind of a strong statement. We've seen so many negative effects with young kids, especially the pre-adolescent, adolescent age with social media.
Yeah, in fact, I know a lot of people in Silicon Valley, some of the people you'll read about in the paper. Nobody reads a paper anymore, right? Read about in the news, let's just say. And these are not allowing their kids to use it, or like maybe an hour every day at most, or an hour a week. And they should know, because they know that world inside and out.
Yes, they do. And they're the ones, I mean, we know that Steve Jobs was one of the ones who was really strict with his kids about social media and using iPads and phones and those kind of things. And we do have the science now, which is the only thing I wish the Surgeon General had gone just a little bit further in saying we have the science to know that social media does impact the brain, as if the dopamine pump, as if you were taking a drug or something. You get that ping, the like, the desire, and that's really hard to break away from. And everything they're seeing is external. And for someone who's developing, they can't make the distinction. They don't have the experience to know everybody doesn't look that skinny, or everybody doesn't do things that way. And it makes them feel inadequate at a time when they're trying to figure out, who am I? Am I worthwhile?
Yeah. And Darby, everything you're saying there just reminds me of a lot of what we say when we hear about the gender identity and the pronouns and the gender reassignment surgeries that a lot of kids are going through and being exposed to. And the whole concept is they're still developing. So why is it something that's okay to say, okay, social media, wow, they're too young for that, but they're not too young to completely change their sex and change their entire life?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, they seem pretty extreme, right? Like, if you can change your identity and your sexual identity, why can't you go on your iPad? So I think what we want to do is make a distinction there about there aren't as many young people changing their identity as we would think. The numbers are really very small, and those that actually go through it are in a pretty painful identity. We want to make sure that that is a real pain, that is a real thing internally that they want to do, and it should not have anything to do with what they're seeing on social media that makes them somehow think that that will solve things. Because by and large, and we do know, again, anyone with a sexual identity or a gender identity that we consider not mainstream, whatever that is, really do struggle to fit in. And I think we want to be really careful with that and empathetic, and not make it some public, oh, I saw this yesterday on Instagram, let me do that.
Right, exactly, yeah. Darby, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.